Okay, back again, one more section, and that is participative discussions. Okay, here we go. In participative discussions, essentially what you're doing is you are simulating, okay, a classroom environment, but you're not doing it all at the same time. Someone could be answering the discussion at 6 in the morning, some could be responding to that discussion at 9 that night or the next day. But remember, there are time limits now on all your assignments and your discussions. Again, we're covering an entire semester in 3 weeks. So if I tell you there's a due date on something, you're going to have to get it done by that date. Participative discussions are not really all that bad, okay? What I'm going to essentially do is have you look at a video, or I'm going to state something, and I'm going to ask you to respond to me. Now, what should that response look like? The response should be anywhere from 1.5 to 2 paragraphs. You don't need references now for the participative discussions, because remember, it's like in a classroom. And if you were participating in a Socratic type of discussion with your classmates, you wouldn't be documenting references. So although we don't have the synergy of the classroom all at one time, the synergy still exists because you're bouncing off of each other and responding to something. And the advantage to this is you can give it a lot of thought, whereas in a classroom you're kind of on the spot, but you can give it a lot of thought to how you're going to respond, and I'm going to ask you to do that just before you spontaneously answer a discussion question. So, as I said in your syllabus, you're going to have 9 of these participative discussions, and that means you're going to have at least 3 per week, okay? So, what are they going to consist of? Now, remember, in these courses, we have to do the equivalent, and not to be redundant, but of a semester, which is 37.5 hours of time. Like I said, the actual seat time are the equivalent. So what that means is that on each one of these participative discussions, you're going to be graded, I believe they're 5 points each, but in each one of these you're going to have 9 of them. So say for example, I'm going to ask you about theorists. I'm going to say, okay, tell me what are some of Abraham Maslow's theories on leadership? Not that you would have to answer that, but for an example. Okay, well, he was a theorist that talked about the hierarchy of needs. Well, how is the hierarchy of needs fulfilled in a leader when they are leading? Like, why do they need to lead? Why can't someone else do it? Why do they need to do it? Well, that is reaching their higher order needs, and that's what's important. So the higher order needs on Maslow's pyramid have to do with what? Has to do with someone's personal ego. They are fulfilled when they lead. So the thing is, if I'm asking a question about that, you're going to answer either me or one of your peers in the class. Preferably, if you're the first one responding, you're going to be answering my question. But I'm looking for 2 solid paragraphs per discussion. I'm not saying like, okay, say for example, I know that hypothetically Mary's in the class, say, okay? So John is responding to Mary, another classmate. So John is saying, yes, I agree, Mary. That is not a response. A response would be, say for example, Mary says, well, I think that Maslow's hierarchy of needs are very important because a leader needs to fulfill their goals as a leader, and it's reaching their higher order needs, which is on the ego side of the pyramid, and goes on for maybe 4 or 5 sentences. Now, the thing is that John or Mary, whoever is going to be the recipient of that, is going to respond by saying, yes, John, or yes, Mary, I do agree with you that the ego is what affects or influences John or Mary's ability to lead, because their higher order needs are being fulfilled through going through each successive step in Maslow's pyramid, meaning physiological needs have been fulfilled, and then the next is safety and social and so forth. And they will go into the detail as to why those needs were fulfilled. So it would be like a classroom discussion, okay? So you just don't give me a one-sentence response. It's not going to cut it. You won't get credit for that. So I am going to grade you based on your responses, okay? So again, 2 solid paragraphs at least for each response to either me or to someone else on the team. So bounce off of each other. If you're the first respondent, again, you're going to respond to me. If someone has already responded to me, you might respond to that person and so forth. Again, no references, so that's how it goes. And that's basically all the grading and the synergy and everything else for the course. The rest of it is have fun with it, enjoy it, learn from it, learn from each other, learn from me, but most of all, do it for the 3 credits, but most of all, do it for you, so you can retain this information and take it with you to help you fulfill your goals and, as they say, living the dream. Signing off, Professor DeChico.